Hey, how's it going? And today I'm going to show you how to trigger a particle effect, a legacy particle effect using the sequencer. There's other ways to do this. We're just exploring the sequencer right now because I'm just going to show you what this is going to look like. So I'll show you how I set up this whole scene. It's actually very easy to do. I just think it looks a lot cooler than the usual gameplay arena. And what will happen is when I cross that ramp, the fire particle effect will go on. So I come over here, and then it's a little bit of a delay. And I have some checks. So when I cross, that's prints a string and stuff. So I don't really, I guess I have the ability to, oh, it sequences out. Oh, because when I cross it, it deactivates it for a minute. And then it starts it back up. So it stays on. It'll stay on the whole time now because it's been activated. But then when I cross the threshold again, it starts that cube moving and stuff like that. So, but this was a little tricky. There's a little weirdness to this legacy. And I'm using this because this comes with the starter pack and it's easy just to get you started with experimenting. So I'll be back in just a minute to get started with this. Okay, so we're back to get started on this. We're just going to go into the third person template and we'll just go ahead and add the starter content. I'll just leave it called my project setting. And that's it. We do have to do one restart on here because I wanted you to have the same kind of background that I had because I think it looks cool. So to get the cool background, here's what we're going to do. We're just going to go into Edit, Plugins. We're going to type in HDRI, this one, and just go ahead and restart it. It just takes a second. It's worth it though. I realized what you could do on this is because this is really meant to be a backdrop. It's not really meant to be, well, let me go ahead. I'm going to come over here to the Place Actors tab. I got to lock my content drawer. There, okay, docket I mean. So go HDRI, and we're just going to drop this into the scene like that. Now you'll notice they call this Z fighting. See that? It's where it flickers like that. I saw on Fortnite that they actually created this on purpose, this Z fighting effect, to create the illusion of a fluorescent light flickering on the floor. So I thought that was pretty creative actually. So Z fighting actually has some application. So what we're going to do is we're going to click SM cube real fast. And we should be able, under rendering, to turn it off. And that takes care of that. So now if I hit play, we have this a lot cooler thing. So what you could do also, just on a side note, is you could just use a Megascans texture on here if you didn't like the way this ground looked, because it kind of distorts in some areas. See how it's kind of, and then you can kind of fix that with some adjustments, but over here it looks pretty good. But I realized since it's a mesh, you could just bring in another grass background, and then you have this cooler, much cooler looking arena. Okay, so to get started with this, I'll hit escape. And we'll come into our particle effects, and there's one fire, and I'm just going to drag that onto the scene there. And one of the issues that we have with this is that if I hit play, you see it's already in effect, and I don't want it to be in effect. So one thing we're going to have to do is, let me hit escape. With the fire selected, we're just going to come down here to actor hidden in game and turn that off. So then when we hit play, there's no effect at all. Okay, and then we're ready to do this. And this doesn't take very long at all. So I'm just going to go into the content level just so I know where I'm at. And then I'm going to go to Cinematics, our level sequencer. And this is really a multi-purpose tool of insane proportions because there's so much you can do with it. And it's mind-boggling actually. So we're going to double click into it. And with the particle effect selected, if I come into track, I can add that to the sequencer like that. Now there's some weirdness that I noticed with this. So there's two things that we're going to do is we're going to activate the effect and then also need to turn on its visibility, which reminds me, if I Let me escape for a second. I am escape. I think there's an auto activate here too on the effect, and we want to turn that off. Just to summarize, on the particle effect, we want to hide it in game, turn that on, and then turn off the auto activate because we don't want it activated on play. And so we're just going to create a trigger, and then when we cross the trigger, the sequencer will turn on the visibility and also activate the effect. So that's where the trickery is over here on the particle effect. So what's weird is if we come here and we click on the particle effect, we have actor hidden in game right there. So that's what we want. And then what we're going to do is just enable it and create a keyframe just to lock it in. And so that will take care of the visibility. That'll turn the visibility on that we turned off over here. But then what we have to do is we have to come in here and click this again. And then we have to go to the particle system component here. And it has a visibility here, but well, that's not the visibility. That's the one we had before. We click here, it has actually a visibility in here, but I noticed like this didn't work. So we had to use the visibility here, this one. So like if I just delete this, you'll see how there's this visibility setting here. This is the one that works. The one inside the particle component system didn't work. But it's kind of confusing because it almost looks like this is a child of that. But all we want to do here is activate it. So there's auto activate right there. And we just click that. Or we can also come up here, FS toggle track, and activate it that way too. So we can just turn that on right there. I think that's how we want to do it actually. And now we see it burning, you see? So we're all good to go. All we have to do now is just add a trigger. So we come over here to the Place Actors tab, and I'll just search for trigger box. And I'm just going to drag it right over here on the scene like that. Come over here, hit the space bar, and we'll just size this up. So I'm not sure to hit it. With it selected, we just come up here and go into the level blueprint. And actually, there's another thing I need to do. Sorry about that. We're done here. So I'm going to hit save, come in here, and I need to drag this also into the scene, the level sequence. It comes with its own settings here, and it can be auto. We don't want to autoplay, and we don't want loop either, I don't think. Yeah, we don't want loop. So we just, once that's activated, it'll stay activated. It kind of loops on its own. So to get started, we'll select the trigger. Make sure we select the box trigger here. Then when we go into our level blueprint here, we can right click and add event, and it's going to be collision, and it's on begin actor overlap. So that's what's going to trigger our trigger basically. And then we'll go back into the scene for a second, and we're going to select that level sequence right here, this one. I kind of had it hidden there. And sometimes it's good to position your level sequence where your effect is going to occur. It just as a kind of a visual reminder. But with it selected, we can go back in here to the level blueprint, a right click, and just create a reference to it. And then this is how we will trigger all of our sequences, really, if we want to do that. And we simply search for play sequence. And it comes in all wired up. And then all we have to do is just hook this up into there and go compile, save. And then if I hit play, no fire effect, right? Because we have the actor hidden in game. And then when we walk right over here, the fire effect comes on. And it'll stay on. Does it stay on? Oh, why did it look like it disappeared? Yeah, so it stays on no matter how many times I go back over it. So that's it. And if you wanted it to look a little more dramatic, you just hit Control L and then just darken up the scene. But what's interesting, you can change the direction of the sun with this. But you notice, you'll see that our lighting is still high. So we just got to go to the HDR here. And just drop the intensity like 0.75. Not too much, because then it might start looking weird, but it brings out the fire more. So then if I hit play, see how we have a darker scene. Come over here, and there's our fire effect. Okay, that's all I had for today. I hope you found it helpful. Take care and have a fantastic day.